All right, so you're about to see something that I've never done before. What I'm showing you is, yes, you're going to see two keys on how to rescript and rewire your subconscious. First one has to do with identifying the energetic reframe. You're about to see what that looks like. But the second key in rescripting your subconscious has to do with staying consistent in the new action of the new identity that you've just implemented, that you've just injected, that you've just infused. It's consistent action from that new version of you, in addition to staying consistent in the processing of the old version of you as it bubbles up to the surface. Those are the two keys: identifying the new reframe and staying consistent in the new action and in the processing of the old frame. Those are the two keys. Now, the most important piece that I want to share with you right now is that I've never shown ever publicly my own processing, my own actual rescripting of my subconscious in real time. And you're about to see that here today. Some people are going to disagree with me doing that. Some coaches, mind you, because I need to show myself as an authority. But the thing is that the authority that I'm in, let's be very clear here. What I have extensive experience and am a professional in is the reprogramming of subconscious material, aka healing your inner child. And I've helped a lot of people do this. Now, the thing is that you might get sucked into my story. You might get sucked into my old identity and witness yourself wanting to give me solutions or tell me what it is that I need to hear. And I actually make somewhat of a comment in that video, and you're going to see where. But just know that that urge for you to want to help is a really good thing. But what we want to do is redirect that urge to help another person, especially someone such as myself. If I'm dear to you in some way, we want to redirect that urge to help to you, to yourself. And that, more than likely, can often be why you have such an urge to help others, is because it's actually potentially misplaced. Or you could say not quite in balance, meaning there's an emphasis on helping externally versus internally, if that urge is very strong. So just recognize that about yourself, if that's the case, and take that as a sign to really start going inward and applying what it is that I'm teaching you in this next section of this video. And then witness in the following section me actually applying it in real time. Because it's my view that if you're going to be, let's say, a professional skateboarder and you want to learn how to do a kickflip, it might be helpful as you're learning and starting out to see a professional actually do a kickflip properly. And that's my intention of showing you this video. So you can share your comments, positive or negative. You can try to help or do whatever you want to do if you're getting sucked into my story, which is fine. But just recognize the intention of this video is so that you can objectively see what it looks like to apply what it is that I'm explaining in the next section of this video. So there's going to be 3 sections. There's me right now. The second section is going to be talking about and how to apply this. And then the third is me actually applying it in real time with a very real issue. So I hope you enjoy. Please do leave me some encouraging comments if this connects with you, if this is something that you enjoy, if this was helpful for you, and I will see you on the next video. So when we're in process of rewiring or rescripting something in your subconscious, there's 2 key elements to it. The first is that we need to get the energetic reframe in place. Energetic is also known as emotional. So the emotional energetic reframe is the first part of shifting into a new identity. What this energetic emotional reframe is, what it is that you need to be in the current frame that you have now, which is different than the reframe that you're attempting to have. The person who you are now, or the frame that you have now, is different than the reframe or the person that you're in process of becoming, or that you're trying to be. So what we need to do is we need to get into what is the current frame that you're in now? What is the current emotional frame of limitation that you're in now? What is the frame of limitation that you're in right now? What is the feeling? And see, and this is the thing, is that, this is why I find that it is so important to show you what this actually looks like. Because the frame that you're in now, to understand what that looks like conceptually, is way different than to see it actually happen. Than to see someone in their lower frame and say, okay, that's what it looks like when you're in the lower frame. When you're in the frame that you're in, that you want to reframe. And so I'm going to show you what it looks like to go through an energetic reframe. I understand the pain of wanting nothing more than to make a difference. I understand the pain of nothing more than to make a difference and not being able to make it. I understand the pain of knowing that I came here to make a difference and not being able to make it. I understand the pain of having all the potential in the world and not being able to unleash it. I understand the pain of having all the potential in the world to support my family with my gifts, through my contribution in society, and not being able to unleash it. I feel the pain of knowing that my light can help save the world. And not being able to illuminate it, to give fire to it. I understand the pain of being able to make a massive difference, of knowing that I can make a massive difference, and yet I see myself struggle to get out of bed in the morning. It's painful. It's painful to see, to know
to know all that I am. In truth, to know all of, at least part of who I really am. And at the same time, experience the disconnect of that. The disconnect between me and who I really am. And yet I still feel powerless to do anything about it. I find myself looking to other people for help with this, to validate my power, to motivate me, or to tell me that here's my problem. I feel powerless to change. And I could have the best friends in the world, the best clients in the world, that tell me, you can change it. You have the power to change. You have the power to change your situation. But it falls on deaf ears. And I know that it will. I know that it won't matter, and I'll sit here and I'll wallow and I'll still be in it. And so I know that going outward and going outside, it doesn't do anything. It's not the medicine that I need. I know the medicine that I need is for me to see it, for me to believe it, for me to understand that I have the power to change. But for whatever reason, I feel powerless. I feel powerless to change my situation. And I don't understand why. And that's painful.
Now, that's the first step, is to get to the energetic and or emotional frame that you're in now. You have to understand the energetic and emotional frame that you're in now before you can get to the new emotional energetic reframe. It's incredibly important. This is the step that most people miss. This is the step that's hard to typically get to, because the frame that you're in now is in your subconscious. It's something that you're not completely aware of, because if you were, then you would be shifting into your new identity. It's tricky. Now, or at least you would see more people, you would see yourself shifting more than what you currently are now. And you know what it is that you're dealing with if you've been doing work on yourself. You know what your current frame is if you have a deeper understanding of yourself. Because this is going to lie in your subconscious. This is going to lie in the identity of your unhealed inner child. That's where your true identity is sitting. Or you could say, it's not really your truest identity, but that's what's the identity that you have in current time. So, whereas your true identity is obviously your soul. Now, in order to solidify the new energetic reframe, so to back this up, what we're doing is we're understanding the frame that we're in. Once you get the understanding of the frame that you're in on an energetic, emotional level, by being in the frame and being able to get that, wow, this is the frame that I'm in, this is what I'm identifying with, that's what allows the new energetic reframe to present itself or reveal itself to you. That's where you can get access to the new reframe. That's when you can start calling it in.
But after being with it for a moment, I think I understand the solution, and I need to show myself. I need to show myself my own power. I need to show myself what I'm capable of. I need to know, like, who it is that I really am, and validate that to myself. And what comes up for me is coming back to consistency. It seems simple, and yet, as you know, it can be one of the most difficult things to do. But it's to create consistency. I need to show myself through consistent action that I do have the power to change my situation. But maybe that should be my why. Maybe my why for consistent action should be so that I show myself my own power, so that I remind myself of who I really am and what I'm really capable of. Because if I don't see it, I'm gonna start to lose hope. If I don't experience my own power, my own raw power, and how do I think I'm ever going to change? So I suppose it boils back down to showing myself who I really am, versus believing that I'm someone I'm not, someone who's powerless to change. It boils down to believing in the real me by showing myself who I really am through action, through dedication, over time. And recognizing the power of holding my word, my bond, my commitment. Understanding how much power, the depth of the power of my word, how much power is actually held within holding one's word. More specifically, holding my word. Holding my word. And what kind of a person I can become through the consistent action of holding my word. That's how I can prove to myself who I really am. That's how I can change all this and turn everything around. That's how I can at least try to save my family. Those I really care about. But that's how I can leave my dent in the world. That's how I can help us become free. Free humanity. Because we are in a situation and we need to wake up. Like I am right now. We need to wake up. To the power of who we really are. We need to figure out, each one of us individually, what is holding us back from realizing the full potential of who we really are. At soul level. As a soul.
Now, to solidify that reframe is going to require you to consistently show up from this new energetic reframe. What does that mean? It means that once you touch that new energetic reframe for the first time, it's going to cause you to make a new type of action, a new type of choice. It's going to cause you to show up in your behavior differently. Now, because the old frame or the old identity that you've been attached to, aka your wounded inner child, because that's located in your subconscious, that has a certain amount of power. You've given a certain amount of time dedicated to that identity, dedicated to that frame. And so it takes time to rewire that completely over an action, over and over again with that new action. What that looks like is that once you hit that new reframe and you are now in a new action, it's going to be a period of time before your subconscious starts to get reactivated again. It's going to be a period of time before that old identity starts to creep up. It's going to be a period of time before your inner child starts to bring information to you again about its current state of frame, its current state of identity, its current state of feeling that is lodged in this old identity. And as you're in this new action and your subconscious starts bubbling up, what you're going to have to do is become aware that the old identity is creeping up on you. You have to become aware that your subconscious is attempting to get your attention. You have to become aware of what your patternings are, what type of patternings that that are created from this part of your subconscious, from this wounded part of you, from this old identity, from this old state of mind or frame or emotion. Because that's really what it starts to pop up as. It starts up as an emotion or a thought that starts to creep back in, and then out of that, if you don't catch it at that level, it's going to start to create or produce a pattern or something external in your life, meaning a behavior, an experience that you attract. It's going to start to produce something in your external world, because again, that's not external. Is not energetic. External is not emotional. External is not thought. Thought, emotion, energy, all that is internal. All that is the causal level. That's where everything comes from. So in order to rewire this, I'm gonna rehash this out again for you, because it's important that you understand the clear steps here. You have to understand the frame you're in. You have to get access to your subconscious and start really getting a deep understanding of the frame and identity that you're in, that is limiting in nature, that is not serving you. Out of that deeper understanding comes the new reframe. Moments, within moments of deeply understanding the frame you're in. That's what it looks like on an energetic level when you're getting at this at causal level, when you're really working with this in the emotional level. You understand the frame you're in, and then the new reframe you have access to that new reframe now. You can call that in. But it's going to require you to go to it. You're going to have to connect with it. It's not just going to come up. Sometimes it does, but for the most part, you have to go to it. So reframe naturally comes in. Or reframe becomes, it comes in after you understand the identity that you're in, after you understand the frame that you're in. So you understand the frame, then you get access to the new reframe, and then you have to solidify that reframe over and over again through staying consistent in not just your new action, but staying consistent in making contact with the subconscious that starts bubbling up with its old identity again. And then you have to understand it at that point. You have to understand it again at that time, in that moment, to reframe it again. To reframe it maybe 2 degrees this way at that particular second time of it making itself known to you. And so this happens over time. Becoming your higher self, becoming a greater version of yourself, happens over time because it just does. I could go in and give you reasons, but it happens over time. You don't just all of a sudden be who it is that you want to be. You don't, I mean, yes, you can act as if, but even acting as if is a process and takes time before you actually become who it is that you want to be. So that's the process. That's another way, another different way of looking at, of analyzing, of understanding this process of becoming a greater version of you until ultimately you are making contact with your soul and you are in connection with your soul. Your true self. Your true self.